Live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. It's your boy MP. Live Struggle Legacy. And welcome to the Live Struggle Legacy Podcast, Season 2. Now, real quick, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button, drop a comment to get into the conversation. If you're following us on a streaming platform, make sure you hit that follow button, that notification button. Make sure you rate us. That helps a lot, y'all. That's a really easy way you can support the show. And if you're looking to promote your business, holler at me. We're always looking for sponsors. So here we go. I got a very special guest today. My brother, we've been rocking 20 plus years. One of the true homies, like really brother from another. Demetrius Yates, a.k.a. Pody, a.k.a. Pody Rose. What's happening?
What up, Doug?
Thank you for coming on the show, bro.
For sure.
So real quick, I always like to tell a little story about how we know each other. And so I'm sure Pody got the stories. Pody got the story. So we call Pody story. We call Pody. I'm gonna tell you the story behind Pody real quick, right? So excuse me. Now I made a big mistake when I thought DC named you Pody.
Nah.
But my understanding it was the AP made you Pody.
Yeah.
Well, and I hope y'all met DC on the show before. DC Country Boy Cuts. He told his story. He had a pretty cool story that he shared, and we really vibed and got pretty vulnerable on the show, right? And so going back, DC was a barber at Robinson's Barbershop. It was a real popular barbershop on 54th Avenue South, not far from Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg, Florida. We're from the Bird, and it was like the place to be, and there were some really good barbers in there. And I actually mentioned AP in that show. He might come bless the platform one of these days. But let's talk about what Pody means first, right? So I met Pody through DC during the barbershop days. We used to hang out, and Pody was always like the coolest motherfucker on the planet. Like really, truly the coolest dude I had ever met. Just super laid back, super chill, do anything for you. You ain't got to ask him twice. Just solid, really good dude, right? That's how I've always known Pody. But the name Pody actually comes from potent, right? And this is near and dear to my heart because if you remember me from way back in the day, my first company was Potent Entertainment, right? And now where does potent come from, right? So if you came up in that like 2000s era, right? This is for the weed smokers right here. All the weed smokers. If you was a weed smoker in the 2000s, you knew about Pody. So like now you got weed is just like a whole nother level of weed, right? But back when we were young, it was simplified. You had three kinds of weed. You had Reggie, which was like regular, like bullshit weed. You had mid-grade, which we called Pody, which was like a more affordable but better grade than the high grade, right? A little like more expensive than the regular, the Reggie, right? And then you had Dro. That was the only term. There wasn't no exotic. There wasn't all this. It was just Dro. D-R-O, hydro, right? That's what we called it. Whether it was grown in the dirt or hydroponically, we called it Dro, right? But Pody was what we called, like if you had that Pody, you had some good mid-grade weed, right? And so that's what we called it, or we would call it potent, right? So and hence when I started my music company, right, I called it Potent Entertainment because we were like that Pody, right? But now y'all got Pody in the flesh, right? Because Pody's so fire. He's such a fire human being that we had, well, AP, shout out AP, had to come up with a name, and he called him Pody. Yes, sir. So correct me if I'm wrong, bro.
I don't know. I think it was because I was, you know what I'm saying? I was the youngest, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
EDC, all them older than me.
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
But that's all we used to do was smoke weed.
Smoke,
and shit like
yeah.
that.
That's how we know each other, bro.
Yeah.
Some of the best friends that I have in my life, I met over a blunt or joint of some Pody, right?
But it was AP, not DC that you know what I'm saying, calling that name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kind of stuck or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shout out AP.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the show.
That's right.
Yeah. So man, I had a story. I know you got stories for days. So tell us a story, bro.
About you, I think a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna take them to the grave and shit.
Yo, of course, yeah, we can't talk about. But tell one like maybe early on when you first met me, like your first impression of MP. I'd be interested in that.
I don't know, but you know what I'm saying, one story that I can tell, you know what I'm saying, man, you got me in trouble one time.
Yeah,
it wasn't even really your fault. Damn,
you know dog.
This is way back when, you know what I'm saying, Mary was pregnant with Deja or whatever. You know what I'm saying, my firstborn.
Yeah.
And we fucked around, we went out one night, you know what I'm saying, I think I left the house at about like 8, 9, something like that, or whatever. But I'm telling my bro, we was with Big Red and a bunch of other motherfuckers and shit like that. But we went to
the Full Moon Saloon nights?
Yeah, Full Moon Saloon. It was the first time I hadn't been up in the back and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So my man, we getting fucked up and everything like that. And I think the clubs closed at like 3:00 at that time or some shit like that. I don't think we left that motherfucker until 4.
Yeah.
And we left at 4. We went to some other shit.
The After Hours Club.
Yeah.
Yes. AVO2.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That place was crazy. Yeah. We got to tell a story about that.
And I remember being in there and going to the bar trying to get a drink. I'm like, man, we got no drinks in here. Ain't no liquor in here. So, man, look, we ended up leaving. And when we were leaving out of there, the sun was up and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? I should have took my ass home at that point. But that's when, you know what I'm saying, we went and got a little sweet or whatever, kept the party going and shit like that. Hey, listen, I'm telling you, we had so much fun that night. Shit, that was almost like a day and a half or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man, by the time I got home, like by 6 o'clock the next evening and shit like that. I'm telling you, I walk in the house with a half a fifth of Hennessy and shit like that, fucked up. And, kind of trouble with that shit. Big trouble.
It went down. It went down in the rest of history because it kept going down. That shit kept going down, bro.
Yeah. Until I should have went home that morning because we rode right past my house. All I had to do was like, what was that, Trey? Hey, dude, boy, let me out. Hey, dude, let me out.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
The car, but yeah. That's one.
So, yeah. Man, I know we got so many stories, but before we do, so Pody always been that go-to, right? That go-to, like if you need help with anything, or you just need a road dog, or like whatever the case may be, Pody is down for the cause. Like no matter what, no questions asked. Like one of the most loyal and like about that life people that I've ever met in my life. That's why we brought him on the show today, and he's got the best stories. He's around for a lot of things. Now, a lot of these stories I want you to tell. I don't really want to tell. But I want to share this thought real quick, right? I was scrolling like we do, right? On the socials, right? I don't do a whole lot of that because there's not really a whole lot of time for that. But, in my life anyway. But, I was scrolling and I saw like a meme and it talked about how like we never really see ourselves and we never really see how other people see us, right? And we could get an idea. Somebody could tell us how they see us, and then we get an idea how we are, but we never really see ourselves, you know? And that's why I love to hear these stories, because it just gives me a little idea of maybe I saw things one way. And I can't tell you how many times. And I love it, like with people that are from the city, right? And they know some of these stories and some of these places and these things, right? It's like we remember things, and it's not like we're out here telling lies, but we might remember something just a little bit different. Somebody else remembers it a little bit different. So I love to tell, like even when I was telling my story in season 1, and then somebody jumps in there and is like, no, that was such and such. And that was like this. It's like, damn, it was. Yeah. So if y'all out there watching this and you're like one of the OGs that's been down since, way back when, and you want to jump in the comment section with these stories, man, it's love. So please do. Like, we want to keep the conversation going, even in the comment section, right? But I want to make sure you got this platform, right? We're on all streaming platforms. We're on YouTube. So I want, you to introduce yourself in the light that you want to be seen, and just tell us about Pody, man. Tell us about Demetrius, your life struggle, as deep as you want to go, or whatever you feel like you got to get off your chest today, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been thinking about that question.
Yeah.
For a minute, you know what I'm saying, what's my life struggle or whatever.
Yeah.
I really like my life struggle is trying to make up for like wasted time and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Following behind the wrong thing, the wrong people, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I really think like that's a big part of like what's fucked up in our community or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And shit, now I got 2 daughters and a grandson or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I see
Grand Pody.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I see myself being like, you know what I'm saying, that was my stepfather because my dad wasn't really never there or whatever, but I see myself trying to do what, you know what I'm saying, my stepdad did, which is try to give your kids, you know what I'm saying, what you know, keep them from going down the wrong paths and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I think one of my biggest mistakes in life was like following behind the wrong people or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like now you look back on it or whatever, look back at those people that, you know what I'm saying, you really used to look up to and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How the fuck was I following that or whatever, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes, sir. 100. I've talked about this on that show over and over again.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying, that's really my life struggle or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I say make up for wasted time and shit like that, like, I look at, you know what I'm saying, the age I am, 44, there's so much stuff that I feel like I should have accomplished or, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, but no regrets or whatever, but, you know what I'm saying, just now, you know what I'm saying, taking jobs and stuff like that, more serious and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, like, I look back at my mom only really had like 4 jobs in her whole life, you know what I'm saying, up until this point right now. And that right there made me look at like jobs, you know, when you're young and shit like that, like, you know what I'm saying, you go through them and, you know what I'm saying, quit jobs and stuff like that. And get older and possibly might want to go back, but could never go back or whatever, you know what I'm saying. But just trying to make up for wasted time and shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. But you know, man, I just want to drop a thought because I know you said, you know, so I'm 40. Pody, you usually say you're 44, right? Yeah. So, you know, when we were young.
44 this year.
Okay. Don't put it on yourself. Yeah, you're 43, bro. Be 43 until you're 44, right? So, but it's like, you know, when I was young, I don't know about your perspective, but when I was young, I thought 40 was old as fuck. And I bet a lot of kids out here watching it, right? Like, man, y'all motherfuckers old. You got these old ass dudes, Grandpa Pody, right? And I'm not riding, bro. I'm telling you, I'm taking you somewhere with this. Yeah. So it's like, bro, when I turned 40, I felt amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I felt amazing, bro, because it's like you think about all of our blessings, bro, and the more we're grateful about, it's like the more we have. Yeah. You know what I mean? What brings more abundance in your life than anything else, and that's just gratitude. Because the more you're grateful for, the more you have. Yeah. And really, the richest man is not he who has the most. It's he who is, or she who is the most grateful for what they have. And I'm saying that to say that, you know, I mean, nowadays with modern medicine, people living to be 80, 90 years old, bro. You know what I mean? At least 100. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, you know, and I saw another one of these memes about the bald eagle and how when the bald eagle reaches 40, it breaks off his beak and it grows a whole nother beak. Starts a whole another life. So like you talked about, we both can relate in maybe following behind some of the wrong people and looking at them as role models. And I think in the midst of that, because I remember, Pody, to be all the way real, way back when, like I used to see, you know, not that you would follow behind, but you would look up to people as I would, you know what I mean? And then it's like, I remember something changing you, bro. And it's like you went, not that you were ever like a follower, but you were down for the cause. You were loyal. That's what I saw. And I remember seeing something changing you in the midst of going through everything with Amelia and everything. And then all of a sudden it was like you came into yourself, you know? And like you became your own person, your own man. Not that you ever weren't, but it's like you were like enough is enough. I'll be loyal and I'll be real, but I'm not gonna crash out for you. Yeah. And I really saw that growth, bro. And it's like to have that perception of, well, we make mistakes, we go the wrong way, we make the wrong choices, however the case may be, like, but to be self-aware and to see that you made the wrong mistakes and you followed behind the wrong people, and to have, the ambition, you know what I mean? And the thought process to move out of that into something that's more for you, that's more productive. And at the end of the day, bro, I can only speak for myself, but it's like, I've had some great people in my life, but I've also been in phases in my life where I was looking for role models in people that I should have been looking at as role models. And when I had my coming to, it wasn't until I was incarcerated. You know what I mean? So for you to not have to go through that and you to have that coming to, but in that coming to, there's a sense of freedom. There's a sense of empowerment, right? And then it's like, not everybody has that aha moment, that light bulb moment. Not everybody has the ability to self-reflect and say, I don't want any more of that. I want more. I want new things. I want to better myself. I want to live to my potential. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that make sense what I'm saying, bro? Yeah. So I just want to give you your flowers for coming to terms with what you need to do for you to be the best man, father, leader, grandfather, role model. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you can't, the whole point I'm trying to make is if you can't find a role model,
sometimes you gotta be the role model.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
And like, you know what I'm saying, touch on a little bit what you were saying or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you when you have that moment where you finally wake up and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. I used to have a homeboy, you know, I'm putting names out and shit like that, but I used to have a homeboy, you know what I'm saying, we used to be real tight, like, you know what I'm saying, this motherfucker really was the person that got me to go further my education, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was all bullshit, but you know what I'm saying? It was all bullshit. I forget the name of the college, I'm talking about, like, it was such a scam, like the what was that, Sally Mae or whatever, you know what I'm saying, went up to gave the loans and shit like that because they were scamming and shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, he was trying to be on the right path or whatever, so you know what I'm saying?
Trying to set you up for
or set himself up or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, going to school for like business administration or whatever. And man, at the time I didn't really have no, like, I'm just doing this shit because he doing it. And he a real good like talker, like you know what I'm saying, talk into anything or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know what I'm saying, like I seen like, you know what I'm saying, a different him, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, he ended up moving away or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then coming back one night, you know what I'm saying, he had, you know what I'm saying, got put on or whatever, and knocking on my door. You know what I'm saying? Allowing him, and you know what I'm saying, he had him plus two coming to sleep on my fucking couch and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And just you know what I'm saying, little shit that he would try to do, you know what I'm saying? At this point, you know what I'm saying, I could see the change in him and shit like that.
Like in terms of taking advantage and like taking.
Looking back, motherfucker was always taking advantage.
I feel you, bro. I feel you now.
But
there's givers and takers in this
just
world.
Seeing the change in him, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, you know what I'm saying? You used to always tell me, like, you know what I'm saying, weed and drinking would be the only thing he do because he seen what the harder drugs and shit like that did to his family and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, to see you come knock on my door and now you lacing your joints with cocaine and shit like that, shit that you said you would never do or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know I don't fuck with it, you know what I'm saying? And you doing shit like, you know what I'm saying, rolling 6 joints and telling me like,
Russian roulette. Russian roulette,
three of them got,
no, that ain't cool, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
That ain't cool, bro.
And, I'm gonna just let you know, bro, I ain't fucking with you, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know what I'm saying, it was that point, you know what I'm saying, that I started seeing, like, you know what I'm saying, like, bro, you ain't really who you say you are, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to talk to him about, like, the choices that you're making and shit like that, but, you know, sometimes people gotta bump their own heads and shit like that, and that's really, like, when we, you know, went our separate ways, not necessarily separate ways, but, you know what I'm saying, I just can't fuck with you like that as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? I got to start figuring shit out like on my own, or you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's that back then, because you know what I'm saying, like shit. Probably if I would have, you know what I'm saying, followed him on that, you know what I'm saying, I probably would have been and went down the same road that he went down.
Yeah, life would have been very different for you right now.
Yeah. So
And that some people don't make it out of that. And you know, you go on that route, maybe he would have made it out, maybe you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a blessing to be here right now, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But like I said, you know what I'm saying, just trying to get to the, for me, trying to get my daughters, you know what I'm saying? It's like you see them running into a brick wall and you're trying to stop them and shit like that. Sometimes you just gotta let them run into that brick wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see a lot of me in them when I was that age thinking like, oh nah, motherfucker can't tell me shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you know, that's where I'm at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, okay. Now this story I want you to tell. I don't want to tell it, but when we first linked and you were like, yo, I want to get on the show and I got some stories. And you had a story that I didn't even remember. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, you gave me the chill bumps. You damn near brought a tear to my eye, just to be real. And so like, I would love for you to share that story. So, okay, remember when you told me, you told me I got you a job, and I didn't even remember getting you the job. I didn't get you the job. I believe it was my sister got you the job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So how I got into doing security or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Shit, it was, you know what I'm saying, it was after you had, you know what I'm saying, take your little vacation or whatever.
Yeah, say what it is. It's, you know what I mean? Because we and you know, but a lot of them might know. You can say what it is. We raw and cut on this show.
But it was right after, you know what I'm saying, you had went down or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know whether I think it was in Citrus County or wherever, you know what I'm saying?
Like the very beginning of my bid. Yeah.
It was in the beginning of your bid or whatever, and you called me, you know what I'm saying? You was like your sister. Your sister worked at State Theater or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So your sister needs some help or whatever. So that was right when Bo, I think Bo had, that was the second Tuesday Bo did when Bo was doing Tuesdays.
Fat Tuesdays. Yeah, State Theater. Shout out Bo. Shout out Bo. Fat Tuesday.
Shout out Bo.
Back then it was X&O, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was like, I think it was I think Bo had did a Tuesday, and it was overwhelmed. Like Bo, I think the capacity in the State Theater at the time was like 735 people. I'm talking about Bo bringing like 1,000 people in there, you know what I'm saying? And mostly the State Theater was known for like rock and roll and hip hop and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they do a little bit of hip hop or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? The crowd that Bo bought, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was overwhelming or whatever. So they were looking for extra security or whatever. So he was like, yeah, man, all you gotta do is just stand at the bar and watch out for Pauline or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Never thought about doing security or whatever, but like you say, you know what I'm saying? You need somebody to look out for your sister or whatever. So, you know, all right, cool, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But crazy shit is, I never actually like did like just stood at the bar and watched Pauline or whatever. You know what I'm saying? First thing they do, they put me at the door, put me on arm.
With Big Mike, right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
No. Big Mike didn't like the doors, that crowd.
Yeah. He wouldn't even work that day.
No.
Oh.
So I didn't meet Big Mike until I actually got on with the State Theater. So you know what I'm saying. When it first started, it wasn't really anything solid or planned or whatever. You know what I'm saying. Just tell me to show up. I showed up, and you know what I'm saying. Okay. At first, it just started off on Tuesdays or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. I got in there and did my thing or whatever, and that's when it was. I think it was Mark and Lou. You know what I'm saying. They was running the place or owning it or whatever, but that's when they started, you know, giving me more of the rock and roll and hip hop shows or whatever. You know what I'm saying. And that's right around the time when Janice Live had got shut down. I think Bozy had them fucked it up, or I can't remember the story behind that.
Yeah, some weird drama behind
when
this.
They shut down Janice Landing, they moved all those shows to the State Theater. So you know what I'm saying, they were busy or whatever, and that's really how I got on doing security or whatever. You know what I'm saying. shit, that one phone call turned into like I think I did security for about 8-9 years.
My whole bid.
Yep.
You did security, bro.
Yep.
I think all the way until I came home.
What year you came home?
I came home and I came to the halfway house and I came home November 15th.
Yeah.
November 2015. I came home.
Because it was 2016 when I lost that job. You know what I'm saying? Got fired or whatever.
Oh shit, yeah, so you were still doing that when I was
yeah. Like I'm talking about man, shit. I love that job or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
And they had changed management a couple times while you were there, if I'm not mistaken.
No, not really. Like what happened was I don't know if it was Lou and Tony and Mark. I don't know how the business went or whatever, you know what I'm saying, but they were running that. And then they ended up opening up 662 across the street. So then they put me over there, you know what I'm saying, running the door like Big Mike used to run the door of the state or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so so they opened up 662, and then once they opened up 662, towards the end, you know what I'm saying, probably that had to be about 15 when they sold it to the dude that owned Fortunato's Pizza or whatever. He bought that. And then the state in 16, they sold the state a little bit after 16, probably like 17 or whatever, to the people that own it now. But yeah, for like 9 years or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's really all I did.
So real quick, I want to give the people a little bit of backstory if they haven't been following the story, right? The State Theater has a very special place in my heart because, if you listen to my story, I talk about the state and what it did for me. My mom would work the state and she would take me. There was an all ages event and there would be every genre of music there. And I want you to get into that a little bit because you told me how it really opened up your eyes to all this different music, right? And really like change your taste and everything. Like I love that. But it did that for me as a young child, right? So when I say child, I was probably about 12 years old, right? 11, 12 years old when I started going to the state. Yeah. And rather than hanging in the neighborhood with all kind of shit, it was a different neighborhood back then than it is now. All kinds of shit going on. My mom would take me out with her to the all ages event. I would sit behind the signboard and I got to get to know all these people. And really, like, if you know my music and you know about my passion for music, that's how it all started. It all started through my mom. And you know, this is a special episode today because this is the first time, if you've been watching, I haven't said anything, but in February of this year, I lost my mom. Okay. We lost my mom, unfortunately, suddenly, unexpectedly, to a ruptured brain aneurysm, and it's been real hard for me to talk about. But while we're on this, I think it's important that I address this because I just want to give my mom her flowers because I wouldn't be this person that I am today had my mom not shared with me her passion for music. I would go there to see jazz. I would go there to see punk rock, ska. Hip hop, you name any genre of music you could possibly think of. I went to every single show and it really shaped my taste in music and shaped my passion in music. I mean, I loved music before that. I get that from my mom, but you know, there's just so much legacy in this podcast right here because the State Theater was legendary in and of itself. It's no longer around. They now call it the Floridian Social Club, right? Completely different thing, completely different vibe. I mean, it's nice, but it's a little bit bougie. And, you know, the State, I felt comfortable in that griminess. I don't know what it was about that, you know, so, you know, I want to give my mom her flowers. Big shout out to my mom. But my mom, what my mom used to do, so we talked about Big Mike, right? Big Mike was a gentle giant. I believe he was a former retired NFL football player. Yeah. And sadly, we lost him a few years back during COVID, right? I don't know what it was from. It doesn't matter, but rest in peace, Big Mike. And Big Mike was real special to me because kind of like how years down the road when I was locked up, I reached out to Pody to look out for my sister in that venue. my mom introduced me to Big Mike, and I loved Big Mike. And Big Mike would look out for me, make sure I was the littlest thing in the club, and Big Mike would make sure, and he would tell all the other security guys, like I was this little boy in this club with all these grown folks doing wild things, and Big Mike always had my back, always. And just, he was like family. He treated my mom like family. He treated like my sister like family. I mean, I grew up in the State Theater. And then eventually when my mom moved out west, my sister started working at the State Theater. She started growing up in the State Theater. And then, I ended up being incarcerated. And so to bring it to, I didn't even remember me calling Pody from jail, but now I remember, hindsight is 2020, I remember crystal clear because I remember being worried about my sister. All these crazy things were happening around the state. People were getting shot. Somebody, during one of the Fat Tuesday nights, somebody got shot over a parking spot and killed, right? That one is?
No. So, what that situation was about, there was a little dude and this is way back. Well, I guess everybody been wearing costume jewelry and shit like that, but you had all this big jewelry on and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the club, like, you know what I'm saying, doing what we do or whatever. And I really believe somebody tried to rob me. And you know what I'm saying? I remember that situation because, like, that night, you know what I'm saying, some girls got kicked out of the club or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They're not trying to fight or whatever. And so it was one, she was kind of like a little stud, you know what I'm saying? The main one that was out there, you know what I'm saying, even with the police out there still trying to fight after they brought him out of the club or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and the police got him out of there or whatever. And then I was walking one of the door girls to the car, you know what I'm saying? And the alley behind the estate or whatever, it gotta be like 7th Street or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I seen her running out the alley. To my man, y'all heard that? Like somebody got shot or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nah, not your big bad ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, the motherfucker, like, really act like she seen a ghost or whatever.
Yeah.
So, she's like, y'all, somebody got shot or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, holler at the doorbell or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, go tell the police or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, they told the police. And by that time, you know what I'm saying, all the police started riding in and shit like that. And yeah, that's what happened with that.
Okay.
Somebody tried to rob him or whatever.
Okay, and he shot them. Okay.
Nah.
Oh, they shot him and robbed him.
Yeah,
Damn.
I think so.
Well,
but I heard that like the jury was fake or whatever.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I did hear something about that. Somebody, got killed over a fake chain. Yeah, that's awful. That's terrible.
And crazy shit.
Yeah.
Right behind that situation, man, I caught my first weed charge. You know what I'm saying?
I think I remember that.
Yeah, I caught my first weed charge because like the fucking detectives or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They had to get my phone number from the state or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they called me and I told them like what I knew, you know what I'm saying, was pretty much like what I just told you. The girls that came out the club that night fighting or whatever. That's how, you know what I'm saying, the one that like really sounded the alarm or whatever. But what happened was, you know what I'm saying, I told them my story, which I don't really know shit because when they told the police or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like I'm telling them like, man, we were standing at the front door of the club, you know what I'm saying, the music or whatever, we didn't hear shit. It was an officer standing right there with us, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He didn't hear shit, you know what I'm saying? It was a girl coming out the alley that, you know what I'm saying, heard everything, seen everything or whatever. So I'm telling them that and they like, well, you mind coming down to the police department? I thought about it, you know what I'm saying? I told them, yeah. But after I thought about it, you know what I'm saying, like, at that point, you know what I'm saying, I'm working nights and shit like that. Like, for me to get up and come down to the police department to tell you the exact same thing that I just told you, I thought it was bullshit, so I ain't never go or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so, I guess they put a bowler out for me or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So,
what's that?
Be on the lookout.
Okay.
That's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Name or whatever. And so, man, it was one night I'm leaving the state. We had just had an all-day festival or some shit like that. And they had all these 18-wheelers and RVs out there parked on First Avenue, what it is, North or whatever. And so, you know what I'm saying, the way you had to come up out of there, you know what I'm saying, you got to sit back and wait for the break and then, you know what I'm saying, time that shit right. But when I came out, man, I pulled out in a pack of like the undercover cars, you know what I'm saying? They was in them Crown Vics or whatever. So I'm not thinking shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, on guard and half shit. I know my license good and everything, you know what I'm saying? They ended up pulling me. And they pulled me over, you know what I'm saying? That's when I had the Buck Chevy, you know what I'm saying, with the real dark tint or whatever. So I dropped all my windows and everything like that. Man, it was about 8 of them come up to the car. And the one on my passenger side, like, weed. I'm like, well, bitch, if I had weed in this motherfucker, I would be smoking it right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't no weed in the car, you know what I'm saying? We used to have this cup holder that sit in between the seats or whatever, you know what I'm saying? This motherfucker scraping out like residue and shit like that, man. Really charging with that shit, you know what I'm saying? So when he got me pulled over, they sent a detective they sent a detective down there, and I think his name was Gibson, one of the crooked one of the
ones that was in the news for some bullshit. Yeah.
One of them was in prison or some shit like that, but came down and I'm telling him basically I don't know shit.
He was like taking bribes or some shit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a white man and a black one.
Yeah.
It was a white one. I think his name was Gibson.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know shit and I didn't come down there or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and couldn't tell him shit, you know what I'm saying? They took the little residue and real deal, you know what I'm saying? For real. I should have like contested that shit or whatever because if they did a drug test on it, it wasn't even enough to do a drug test.
The lab test, they put it in the solution. If it turns purple, they take it. They used to do that in high school, bro. Zero tolerance. I remember one of the homies. I ain't gonna say his name, but he if you smell like weed at school, they bring you to the office, right? Mm-hmm. And the dude had, I guess he was rolling up in the car or something. He had a little piece of weed on his shirt. Yeah. He took the little piece of weed off his shirt. Yeah. Put it in the solution. Mm-hmm. Expel, bro. Fuck the man's whole future up, bro. But real quick, I want to pause that because I want to go back a little bit because that wasn't what inspired. That wasn't what called me to reach out to you to look out for my sister. It was just one of the many things that were going on. So maybe that was part of it. I mean, the dude getting killed. It was like weird shit that she'd be leaving late. You know what I mean? Going out to her car by herself, like that type of shit. But yeah, man. I mean, there's so much history in that place. And so I just wanted to, make sure that I tied that in with, my history, my story, my mom, my sister, you know what I mean? Because,
listen, I didn't know like the real relationship, you know what I'm saying? How you actually, or like, because from what I know, I just know, you know what I'm saying? You called me, Paulina was working there.
Yeah.
Until, you know what I'm saying, I started watching the podcast or whatever.
Like the roots that I had.
I didn't know it was your mom.
Yeah, with Dave and Tony. Yeah. And then Janet's like Rob Douglas, like all the players. Like that was my mom's, my mom was like the life of the party, bro, and everybody that in every one of those places loved her. I mean, my mom was a, beacon of light for a lot of people, bro. And I don't think I've given her flowers enough on this podcast. So in that, in that moment, I just wanted to, because we talked about Big Mike, and so rest in peace, Big Mike. But like my mom used to have Big Mike look out for me, and in that sense that we're like, I'm like, man, Big Pody, like I need you to look out for my sister, bro, from the Fed. You know what I mean? Like, and bro, you came through in the clutch too, bro. And I love that that you wanted to share that on this platform. That means a lot to me. That would have meant a lot to my mom. I know it means a lot to my sister, right? I'm sure it would mean a lot to Big Mike, right? Big Mike, the gentle giant, and just an all around good dude, always smiling, just real good dude, the kind of dude that lights up the room, and but I know you got so I want to lighten it up a little bit because I know you talked about these incredible shows. You talked about mosh pits. So like, tell us maybe a high point of the state or just some stories that really resonate because you told me there's so many.
I got a lot of stories and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It was really one of the best jobs I ever had. Like just meeting different people from show to show or whatever. Yeah. It was real different for me. Like before I started working there or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I really used to be only into hip hop. I wasn't even listening to like R&B and shit like that. But, you know what I'm saying, being in there, listening to rock and roll and stuff like that, like getting paid to be in there or whatever, it really opened me up to so many different genres and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was shit. That was the first time I ever seen a mosh pit, a real mosh pit and shit like that. Like the type of shit that I used to see on you know what I'm saying, the rock and roll shows, it would never go down on hip hop shows, because like all that, like that shit they doing now, I mean, shit, it would be a real big fight or whatever. But
Yeah. You think they're fighting? You really think they're fighting? But
I remember the first time, like they, I was in there with Josh Shaw. You probably got to get him on there too. You know what I'm saying? You remember Josh Shaw?
I remember the name.
Yeah. But I remember the first time, you know what I'm saying, we were standing there and we chilling. You know what I'm saying? Just watching the crowd, and then like they kind of opened up and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they opened up the pit, and then they did the wall of death and shit like that. Like, man, I'm getting ready to run out there. Like I'm thinking they fighting and shit like that. They're like, nah, chill. That's what they do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was real crazy. And I think like one of the highlights of being at the state was shit. I got the smoke with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg,
Tell us about it.
That was I can't remember the year, but they had the Super Bowl down in Miami or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was here and shit like that. And you know, I guess all the artists like doing shows coming in and out of Florida or whatever. But Snoop Dogg was at the state and whatever. And so after the concert or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you know, all the fans, they know to go to the back where, you know what I'm saying, everything. Like, a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, artists don't really fuck with their fans and shit like that. I haven't seen artists like really charging their fans for like pictures and shit like that.
Yeah, with the bullshit.
Yeah, but you know, it's a lot of artists that really fuck with their fans and shit like that. But the shit that Snoop did, it was unheard of, unseen and shit like that. Like, I think it was about 150 people out there, you know what I'm saying? That came out with the security or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Say, hey, look, as long as everybody stay chill or whatever, we're gonna let y'all on 5 at a time, you know what I'm saying? Get on, take a picture or whatever. They said one person can fuck this shit up for everybody. So as long as everybody get chill, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get everybody in to take a picture or whatever.
And he had his own security, huh?
He had his own security. Yeah. He had a nice ass RV or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you know, I'm out there helping them, like, you know, control the crowd or whatever. So at the end, you know what I'm saying, I'm one of the last ones that get to go up on it or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and say what up to him. And get on there, you know what I'm saying, say what up. He like real cool, like down to earth as fuck, you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, yeah, what's up, you know what I'm saying, smoke that shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying. He like, I'm in your city. You supposed to fire that shit up. I said, man, I can fire it up, but it ain't gonna be like what you got or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? He was smoking swishers at the time or whatever. So he had his people pull out a whole pack of swishers and shit. Yeah, all that shit rolled up or whatever. And they fired it up or whatever. So it come around and me, I hit it twice, pass it, you know what I'm saying? Come around again. I ain't trying to be no crab or no shit like that. I'm like, no, I'm good. You're like, man, smoke. And then every day you get to smoke with the big dog.
Yeah, you know that's what's up, man. Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying? Like, oh God, I think one of the biggest regrets I got about working at the state is not taking more pictures and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like doing security, you don't really want to be like fan, like, you know what I'm saying? But I really wish I would have took more pictures and shit like that, because like that would have been a real great picture to have and shit like that. I think I got like a picture with Smoke from Film.
Yeah.
I got one with him. I think
you didn't get one with Snoop.
Nah. Yeah. And that's one picture I wish I would have got.
Yeah.
Picture,
yeah, of course.
I got a picture with Dick Dale. You know who Dick
Dale? I love Dick Dale, bro. I love Dick Dale. I used to go to see Dick Dale. Yeah, that's like old school surfer music. Yeah. I love that you just said Dick Dale too, bro. Like, yeah. It goes to show you, I wouldn't have known about Dick Dale if it wasn't for the state.
Right.
You know, Dick Dale. So if those don't know Dick Dale, and you know the movie, this is how I know Dick Dale. My mom put me on to Dick Dale, right? Pulp Fiction, yeah, where the you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that crazy guitar sound. Yeah. Dick Dale and Deltones.
Yeah, but yeah, that's like, man, listen, I haven't seen a lot of.
Go ahead.
I've seen a lot of famous people come through the state and stuff like that. Shit, Mystical came through there right after you got out of prison. And stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Who it is? Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly was there. You know what I'm saying? You know, he went to jail. Him and his crew went to jail.
At the state?
No, not at the state.
Clearwater's in the mall or something.
It was downtown.
In
Bishops or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So after they show, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, I'm secure, I'm going in the back and chilling and shit like that. So, you know, we back there talking, and he cool as fuck too, you know what I'm saying? And they was asking us like where to go and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And they asked about bishops. I told them like, man, I don't really fuck with bishops or whatever, you know what I'm saying, for personal reasons, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what really fucking they ain't there no more, but these motherfuckers like won't let you in if you got gold teeth and shit like that.
Yeah. I
So,
remember
like,
they speak.
Even at the time, okay, I had pullouts or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled them out like, nah, cause we know you got them or whatever. That shit don't even make sense or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah,
so
that's that bullshit.
Want a certain crowd,
I wouldn't even want to spend money. Yeah, right. I didn't want to go to places like that. Like I never went to Jackson's because of that. Remember Jackson's? We were talking about it in the last show.
Where Jackson was?
So Jackson, I don't know about the gold teeth thing, but like if you wore like jerseys or big clothes, like you know, all I wore was the Bin Ladens, the 3X shirts and the jabos, and they ain't gonna let you in like that. Yeah. But they'll let one of their homeboys in right past you because it's their homeboy. Yeah. Like my money green too.
Man, there's a lot of that shit downtown. There's certain crowds that they don't really want down there or whatever. But they was asking like, man, where to go or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They asked me about bishops. I'm like, nah. They was trying to get me to come with them. It was like, you wanted bishops. I'm like, I already know I can't get it now, so I ain't going or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? And plus I had to finish cleaning up or whatever. So they ended up going down to bishops or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And when I got off or whatever, you know what I'm saying, I walked, you know what I'm saying, like when we used to get off, man, we used to always like walk downtown and go, you know what I'm saying, to the different bars or whatever. Yeah. So, your boy, he had this big ass camper van or whatever. He had this part right out front. So, okay, we were walking down there and they got into some shit upstairs, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And they got into some shit up there. And I remember, like, man, they came out the back door. You know what I'm saying? They came out the back door and they was trying to make it back around. They actually arrested Machine Gun Kelly on First Avenue North or whatever, trying to get back to his
trying to get away and shit.
Yeah. And, but they fucked this DJ up like a motherfucker. Yeah, security. Because I think what happened was I think they threw a bottle in there or some shit. I don't know. I wasn't in there, but they fucked this DJ up.
But that was back. I remember downtown, and still to this day. This is why I'm not gonna lie. I'm really fuck with downtown like that to a certain extent. But like, you know, especially that one little strip over there. That's the area that I mean, unless I'm going to a concert, I'm not really trying to go out there and have drinks and all that because people get wild. But what I remember happening all the time, some of those downtown security guards places like Bishop's, they'll fuck people up for no reason. You might just have a kid in there getting a little bit too drunk and he's just tipsy, and instead of just kicking him out of the club, they want to fuck him up. And I don't play that. That ain't cool. That's bullying and shit.
Listen, they fuck that.
See, there used to be a lot of that shit going on downtown.
Man, the pictures still pop up every year in my memories and shit like that on Facebook or whatever. But they fucked him up and then they took him to jail.
Like Red and Debo type shit.
Yeah, listen. If you go look that up, because you know what I'm saying, it's all public record, but his DJ got fucked up, went to jail, he got a mug shot. Black eye like a motherfucker or whatever. But a lot of shit.
So I want to take it back to the state real quick, bro. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see George Clinton in there?
George Clinton?
Parliament Funk?
Oh, I think so.
My sister told me a funny story. Supposedly he's like the coolest man in the world. Yeah. But she said that he used to be in that bitch smoking dope, dog. Yeah. Like cigarettes, like just chilling, smoking dope. Like it's
in the back. The backstage is a wild.
Yes, bro. Yeah. And then, you know, for those who don't know, I'm talking about crack cocaine, but like regular. But nowadays, crack ain't shit. It's like a cigarette now compared to fentanyl. Yeah. Not that I'm condoning any of that. I just thought it was funny. Yeah. And I'm not knocking George Clinton. I love George Clinton. Parliament fucking done. Like, I love him.
Yeah, the backstage was wild.
Yeah.
This place and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Mac Miller came on night, man.
Oh man, another legend.
Girls were trying to get in there, like
I saw DMX there, bro.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people there. You know what I'm saying?
So many memories, and I'm so grateful for you bringing them to the show today, bro. So like, I want to make sure that you get anything out to this audience that you want to get out. If you want to get a story out, if you want to, you know what I mean. If you got something you're actively promoting. You know what I mean? This is your opportunity to shine. Remember, this is going on every platform. Yeah. It's going to be out there forever and ever, bro. So anything that you feel like you need to say, you need to promote, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I was ready for one question, the low point.
Yeah. Please.
I think the low point was 2016 when I actually got fired from there or whatever.
Tell me.
And
I remember it was some bullshit.
So what the situation was, you know what I'm saying? It was a promoter, fairly popular promoter, so we ain't gonna say no names, you know what I'm saying? He had a real popular spot back there by my mama's house. And if anybody know me, know where my mama stay at, they probably know what club I'm talking about or whatever. But if he was promoting, you know what I'm saying, he was promoter, you know what I'm saying, he was trying to do a little Thursday night at 662, you know what I'm saying, trying to redo what Bo did on Tuesday night at the state or whatever, but it just would never pop off, you know what I'm saying. And at this time, you know what I'm saying, the police was really cracking down on downtown. They didn't really want a certain crowd down there or whatever, with the weed smoking and all that shit. You know
and you know, real quick, by that time, I remember I was already home doing shows. Yeah. And that's what I loved about the local 662 was I was already doing shows. I did some small venue, but great in the food bar. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that block will never be the same in terms of local music talent and
it's all different down there.
Yeah.
But so, you know what I'm saying, he was trying to promote Thursday nights at the local 662, and the shit just wasn't going or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason, I ain't gonna say it wasn't going, because he did have a little crowd and a little buzz. It was going a little bit. Maybe he even had more time to, you know what I'm saying, let it come together. Probably would have done something nice or whatever. But the police was on him and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Our crowd, we gonna smoke.
They were gonna make sure he didn't get to where he needed to be with.
It was already his last show. He already know that. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, I think this motherfucker bought like JT Money or somebody. I don't know. I think it was JT Money. And you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to JT Money, but you know what I'm saying? At this time, you know what I'm saying? 2016, JT Money is like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't really bringing no crowd like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so, what happened? Like I said, you know what I'm saying? The police was on us, and you know what I'm saying? The owners telling me, look, everybody gotta have their IDs. You know what I'm saying? The police gonna be coming through this and the other. All right. So, you know what I'm saying, anybody that do security, you know what I'm saying, work the front door, they know, like, it's going to be people coming there without IDs or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And our crowd really don't like to carry IDs or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So now I got the owner telling me nobody in without IDs, you know what I'm saying? I got the promoter, you know what I'm saying? We was cool at that point, you know what I'm saying? I know if I don't let people in with ID, bro, you finna lose your ass tonight, because our crowd don't have IDs. So, you know what I'm saying, normally what we do, you know how it is, you know what I'm saying? When you ain't have no ID, what you do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bread.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Should be dub, bro.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna turn them away, but they gotta pick something, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm standing right in front of the camera. So instead of me constantly taking this money from them, right? I didn't talk to the door girl, and I'm telling her, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have my people putting their money in there, and she got people tipping them too or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, at the end of the night, we'll split it or whatever. So then what happened at the end of the night, I'm talking about, like, it was a decent show or whatever, but, like, you know, he lost money or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know how that shit goes. The amount of money you put into the show, you ain't got enough people.
Exactly. So people showed up, but not enough to break even.
Right. So, you know, any promoter, you know what I'm saying, they you know, looking for any and every way to justify why you didn't, you know what I'm saying, your show didn't do good or whatever. So it was one of the, it was, you know what I'm saying, it was one of his security. You know what I'm saying? You got house security and you got promoter security. He was one of his security. So they was outside patting people down and shit like that. I'm just checking IDs or whatever. So at the end of the night, when me and old girl split the money, one of the security seen that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was probably like, we probably split like 300 a piece, 400 a piece type shit. You know what I'm saying? So the security come out like, hey, I'm not gonna give me a cut. Like, hell no, ain't got nothing to do with this or whatever. So he went back and told the promoter, you know what I'm saying? And instead of the promoter coming to me, you know what I'm saying, coming to me, having a conversation with me, I could let you know, look, bro, you know what I'm saying? No, this is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Okay, it probably would have been like that. He didn't do that, you know what I'm saying? He went and talked to the owner. And now, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if you remember Nick. Nick was there when you did your show.
Nick. That's the homie, bro.
Yeah.
Nick.
So Nick was...
He was management at the time,
So Nick was like the manager or whatever, and Nick is the one that come to me and like, damn, I thought, you know, you was cool with the promoter or whatever. I'm like, I am. He was like, well, he felt like, you know what I'm saying, you stole from him and shit like that. Like, stole.
I remember that. I remember talking to Nick about that, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up. I remember talking to Nick about that.
Like,
Yeah. Because I was right around my coming home show.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you had wanted me to run your door, but you know what I'm saying? It was like, nah, the owner didn't want me doing that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was crazy because, like, bro, I'd have been here for so fucking long, you know what I'm saying? Sitting right up on that camera and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to steal shit, y'all would have been exposed to that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, between me and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I probably would, it was wrong that I'm letting people in without the ID, but I see both sides of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's really what it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like he could have came to me and talked to me instead of going to the owners.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, nobody never really came to me and asked me, like, actually, what the fuck going on or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like with them, I know that's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, they let me go or whatever, but it was never, like, they never stuck to me because, like, you know what I'm saying, it was really his word and, you know what I'm saying, I don't know. Maybe they want that and they seen that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not really checking IDs.
Yeah, and where you fucked up is where you let her put it in the pockets. Now it look like you're stealing, bro, even if it ain't. You know what I mean?
No. She had like a tip jar.
Yeah. Oh, a separate tip jar.
No, it's sitting right there, but instead of them handing me the money, you know what I'm saying?
They put it in her tip jar and then split the tips with her.
Because like
she didn't come to your defense?
So it wasn't until days later when Nick come tell me, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, the promoter never said nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? The owner never said nothing to me.
So it was already over. You're already fired by the time they figured out what
No, I was still working there, but you know what I'm saying? Okay, instead of like, you know what I'm saying, doing what I normally do or whatever, it got me doing some other shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, to just slowly like, you know, they gonna put somebody else in that position or whatever.
Yeah. But you know what, bro? I mean, I always say this: rejection is protection, bro, and that puts you on a whole other path to be able to.
Well, listen, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
At that moment, you might not understand it, but you know what I'm saying. In hindsight, you'll figure it out and whatnot. And like shit, at that time, me leaving the state or whatever, leaving from working down there, probably saved my life and shit like that. Because at that time, I probably was an alcoholic and shit like that. Because you know what I'm saying, I'm working like 5 nights out of the week. Every night I'm working, I'm drinking and shit like that. Even on the nights that I'm not working, I'm drinking and shit like that. I was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know what I'm saying, God gotta find a way of like, you know, putting you right where you need
getting you out of that club environment because that's hard, bro. You got to be super disciplined. I mean, even people that club owners and the same in any nightlife industry, if you're not super disciplined, it's easy to start developing habits, and you know. So yeah, bro, and that sets you on that path, man. Like, bro, what my theme, bro, these days has been like, man, when you don't get what you want, that's God's protection. When you do get what you want, that's God's direction. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, I feel like even if you're not religious, you know what I mean? I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Yeah. But like you could look at it like, okay, well, some things are meant to be, some aren't. Yeah. And if something wasn't meant to be, no sense in staring at that closed door. There was another open door somewhere, you just gotta find it. Yeah. And so on that note, like I feel like you found that open door. I do remember that put a bad taste in your mouth. Like you weren't really. I think I was even trying to talk to you about potentially doing promotions and that, and I think you were just kind of done at that point.
With the whole security thing.
Yeah, it kind of put a bad taste in your mouth.
It definitely.
So that was a low point, clearly. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. After that, I never really wanted to do security anywhere else because I never really wanted to do security to start off.
It's dangerous nowadays. Shit.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying. Depending on the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like our crowd, I definitely don't want to work with our crowd or whatever because like a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I remember like really choking people out and shit like that, like to get them out of the state and shit like that. When the motherfuckers drunk, like literally, like you know what I'm saying? You got to get their ass out, dragging them out, whatever. You know
because they ain't trying to go.
And so with the rock and roll hip hop, with the rock and roll crowd or whatever, man, you get them out, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to worry about it no more. Yeah. You do that same shit like with our crowd or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you got to worry about like the next day you taking your daughter to school, you running into them because it's never over.
Exactly. That's the scary thing about that business, and we see it time and time again, bro.
And I really don't think those boys getting paid enough to be putting their life.
No, exactly. So it could have been a blessing because some shit might have popped off, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now that puts you on this new direction. So tell us what you got going on. Tell us about anything you're actively, you know what I mean, promoting. And anything else you want to put out there for the world, bro.
Yeah.
What brand in Pody right now?
Right now,
yes,
you know
sir.
what I'm saying? I'm a machinist. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing that since 2021.
Okay.
I kind of fell into that. COVID really pushed me into that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? When everybody was getting paid a whole lot of money to sit home and do unemployment and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The employers were really looking for people, and they gave me an opportunity to get into that lane. And you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I done found a little hobby with cooking and shit like that.
I love it, bro. I love it. I had one of them cookies on the way here. That was fire.
Trying to like clean up like the shit that I'm putting out to the world. Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love
Instead
it.
of posting weed and liquor and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm posting positive stuff.
Yeah, man.
So that's what I'm doing. I would love to parlay that. Well, I don't even say parlay that into, but end up getting me a food truck and you know what I'm saying, like really investing into myself and you know what I'm saying, doing some stuff like that. They say when you find something that you like to do or whatever, you can become rich doing it or whatever. And right now, it really ain't about the money and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
You're passionate about it. I see your posts. You're always cooking amazing things.
Yeah.
And I love that you share how, like, you got that from your mom, and your mom always had you cooking. And now you got this. I mean, I've seen you cook everything from scratch. I mean, it's amazing. You really, like, got your own cooking show in your story, for real, bro.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that shit.
You could open you could start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that shit. Bro.
So, man, y'all be on the lookout. What we going to call it?
I don't know.
Pody's Plates. Cooking with Pody. Yes. Cooking with Pody.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to stay positive, trying to stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, be a positive role model for my daughters and my kids and whoever else is looking up to me and shit like that.
Absolutely, brother. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to ask you, because I know for a minute you were making like custom T-shirts and stuff like that. Did you ever think about getting back into that?
I would love to do that, but you know what I'm saying, like what I was using was a little Cricut, you know what I'm saying, and that's not really set up for like mass producing and shit.
Yeah, and all that stuff is high dollar. I feel you, and you're trying to get that cooking stuff together.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying, I could do it or whatever, but I don't know. Like you know what I'm saying, you gotta have the right equipment to do with T-shirts and stuff like that. But like you know what I'm saying, with the cooking and shit like that, like. That's what I like, and like you say, you know what I'm saying. I be making shit from scratch or whatever. So you know what I'm saying, to go take a couple of dollars, you know what I'm saying, to get some flour and eggs and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, and whip something up.
Yeah, man, I love that, bro. I love Pody. What do you say, cooking with Pody? I love cooking with Pody, man. I watch the story every day, bro. I love it.
But, I don't know, you know what I'm saying. Like when I was driving cabs or whatever, you know what I'm saying. In hindsight, you know, so I used to have all kind of crazy stories when I was driving cabs and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And I really wish that I really believe like if I would have made a YouTube channel back then while I was driving cabs, you know what I'm saying? I used to be going live and you don't get paid for that shit. You wouldn't get paid for that shit. But if I would have made a YouTube channel like, you know what I'm saying, Taxi Cab Confessions or whatever, I think I would have been rich by now. But like, you know what I'm saying, I'm looking at it now, like I don't really have time to sell food. That's why, you know what I'm saying, I was just like cooking.
But you build your following with the story. We're going to talk, bro, after this show.
I think a YouTube channel.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Selling plates, we're selling views. And
yes. And then that turns into selling plates. You build the following before you even start the business. So now you already know you got clientele before you start your business. Because everybody want to try those plates and they're inaccessible. So how you build supply? Right, everything is supply and demand. I mean, how you build demand? Everything is supply and demand. So now you got a demand because there's no supply. You're not allowed. You can't even taste these plates right now.
My supply and demand is crazy and shit like that because I got a lot of people tuned in and shit like
that. And they can't even taste them if they want to right now. So
like I'm only cooking little small batches and shit like that. Like I ain't really, I could, but I ain't really trying to be in there. Like right now, I'm making hundreds of fucking. Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. No, I know. I feel you, bro. But
I just like filming and shit like that. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I can see myself doing like a second channel or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, man, y'all be on the lookout for Cooking with Pody.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So listen, bro, any closing remarks you want to give to the audience?
I can't think of nothing.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. I just want to thank you for coming out to the show.
Yeah.
Demetrius Yates, Pody Rose, Pody, Big Pody. Thank you so much for blessing the stage. This is my brother from another. We've been rocking 20 plus years. Y'all stay tuned for Cooking with Pody. Pody's Place.
That ain't gonna be the name.
What's that?
That ain't gonna be the name.
Well, you never know. Oh, okay.
Nah, that's the, you know, it ain't
Well,
gonna be the name.
man, y'all just stay tuned,
Yeah.
man. Y'all just stay tuned.
Yeah.
You keep watching the Live Struggle podcast. Eventually, you're gonna see. I'm gonna promote my bro.
Yeah,
might even need to play with him on the show.
Yeah,
All right.
You might be the person to kick off the first episode.
And I got you, dog. Yes, sir. And we segue from that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Live right here, live on. Yeah.
Yes, man, on the Live
Yeah.
Struggle Legacy podcast. Thank you so much for coming, bro.
For sure.
Much love, bro. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Real quick, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification button, drop a comment, start a conversation in the comments. I appreciate y'all tuning in. This Live Struggle Legacy. We building pyramids.
Live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.